Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to make progress? You try and push and you're stuck, about to give up. Well, we all have. So today we're going to talk about resilience and the power of not giving up. So stick around and we can discover how you can transform those really challenging moments into your most transformative ones. So to begin with, I have a personal story from when I was 15. It was a rough time in my life. I was feeling defeated. My mom had died when I was 11. I lived with my dad, kind of, because he had a drinking problem. So we didn't spend much time together. He didn't stay at the house too much. And I was basically on my own. I had just a bad time, I felt super lonely. I had no one to rely on. And I just felt like life was awful. I was stuck. I was full on stuck and saw no way to make things better. Until one day, I happened to see they had these little free magazines outside of my apartment complex where it was just ads. And I looked through it and I saw a foreign exchange student ad. And I knew it, like that moment. I was like, this is how I get out of here. So, first of all, it was so impossible for me to do this because you're supposed to go and apply with your family. Your whole family has to support you through this year-long process to get ready for it. And it was just me. But somehow I went to the office, I got the application, I had to put $50 or something like that together, which took a while, but a couple of dollars here and there. I put it together, filled out the application, and then I went through the whole process. And somehow I convinced them that I could do it. And they let me through it. They gave me the thumbs up. And now I needed to get the signature and money to go. And my dad didn't even know that I was trying to go anywhere. So I got home and I was like, hey, I'm leaving. I need some money for this program. I did everything. I just need you to sign it. And if you can pay for it, that would be great. And I know it was way too much money. But I don't know if they gave me a scholarship or how that worked out. But I know that he paid a portion of it. And then I went anyways. And the reason I'm telling you this story, he didn't even ask me, by the way, how it happened or why would I go. He signed it. I think deep down he knew it would be the best thing for me and was probably grateful of that. And I am grateful for it because it was the thing that changed my life. Instead of staying there living a miserable life, I got to go live with a fantastic family that I'm still in touch with. My kids treat them as grandparents. They're amazing. And that whole experience changed my life. It got me to come back here to the States. And I've been here for most of my life now. So the point is, that seemed completely delusional. That should have never worked. And I was in such a bad place. But somehow it worked and I did it and it happened. So the point is to keep pushing. Even if things seem hard or impossible and you're about to give up, that's when the magic happens. So don't give up, because if I made it happen when I was 15 by myself in South America, you can make it happen too. You just have to keep going and somehow have this little bit of faith that it's all going to work out, because it usually does. So after that story, I want to ask you, can you recall a moment where you were in a seemingly impossible situation and that somehow turned into an opportunity? And how did you make that shift happen? Another story that you may be familiar with is that of Thomas Edison. And despite having over 1,000 failures, he kept on going on his quest to invent the light bulb. And he said that he didn't see those failures as setbacks, but as steps forward. He famously said, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And his relentless pursuit, eventually he did invent the light bulb. And it shows us that instead of seeing those things as failures, we have to learn from each one of those things and keep pushing forward, because there's a reason why we're failing. But with every failure, we keep getting a little closer to the actual answer. His legacy teaches us that no matter how many failures we have, if we keep going, we can make it. And Edison's journey brings a realization that failure is not the opposite of success. It's an important part of it. It's in those moments when we're struggling, when we're failing, that our resilience is built. That's when we have to keep pushing. The lesson in this is to see each failure not with like defeat, like, oh, I failed, but more with curiosity. Like, what can I learn from this? Why did this happen? How can this failure, this thing that I'm learning right now, help me do better next time and to be able to keep moving forward? And sometimes we give up after one failure, but sometimes we're gonna fail like 10, 20, 30 times, and we just have to keep going. But it's also really important to know that your heart is in it. You have to have that passion, that pursuit to keep on going. Without that fuel, you are never going to make it happen. Another thing to consider is that what we usually see is the final product, right? We see the overnight success, the business that came out of nowhere, the person that became a millionaire overnight. But we don't see all the failures they had to go through, all the lessons they had to learn, okay, I'm doing this wrong. What can I fix? How do I make this different? What's a different step? Who can I ask? Where can I learn from? Like all those things that those people had to go through to make it forward until eventually they became this overnight success, which is not a real thing. No one becomes successful or famous or really smart or incredibly good at a sport overnight. It takes endless hours and practice and asking for advice and learning a new thing and practicing. It takes a long time. Everything takes time. And just because we see it on social media or on the news or whatever, that things seem so easy. Oh, I just did these 3 things and everything happened. That's not how it goes. I think people at the end, when they've reached something, they kind of forget sometimes about the first days when things are a struggle. And we're all learning because we don't know what we're doing. And honestly, I feel like even people that are successful most of the time don't even know what they're doing. They just figure out one thing at a time. But the most important thing is to not give up and to keep learning from each failure, because that's why those failures are there, to kind of stop us and be like, okay, this is clearly not working. Maybe I need to shift a little bit and go this way rather than that way, because that way is not working. It's not going to take me anywhere. So let's go over here and try it. And then you get here, and then eventually you'll stop, be like, okay, this is not working anymore. Which way do I go now? Maybe you move this way. So it's like a fine tuning. And the failures are kind of like an alarm system. Like, hey, pay attention. This is not working. Try again. But keep trying. And also, even though we hear success stories all the time, and even if we know that it takes a while, we still want to give up sometimes. Sometimes we're just like, I'm so tired of this. I just don't want to keep going. Or you don't see any progress, because we all want to see progress right now. But it takes a while to see progress on anything. Like if I start playing basketball, I'm not going to be good in a week or in a month or probably in a year. It's going to take a long time. But I want to see it now. And then I get discouraged if I don't see it. Another reason is the fear of failure. Like maybe I'm trying really hard, but I'm still very, very scared that I'm going to fail. And sometimes people have a fear of success. Success can be incredibly intimidating. And maybe it doesn't fit with your current story that you have in your mind. Maybe you don't even know yet, but success just seems not like reasonable for you, so you don't even try. Like it's like you're doing the things, but somehow you're stopping yourself because the fear of success can be so big. It can be so overwhelming. And another thing that can bring us down and kind of take the power out of us is there's just like such a big gap between where we are now and where we want to get to. It just seems too big, so we're like, why am I even trying? It's so far from here to there. There's no way I can make it. But there are things that we can do to work with this thing. So what are some things that we can do to not give up when we're about to? So one of the first things we can do is redefine failure. If we see failure as a bad thing and as a sign to give up, then we're gonna give up. So if we see failure as, oh, this is a stop sign, it needs me to pay attention, to shift things a little bit, to make some adjustments so that I can keep going in a better way. So redefine failure and it will make it a lot easier. Then the next thing is to set realistic expectations. And hear me out, I'm not into the more realistic stuff. Like I think we definitely need to think a little bit outside of the box at least. Because if we're too realistic, we can stay small, but also like, I'm not gonna go to the Olympics, and I'm okay with that. But if I want to try out for something, maybe I will get to a certain point that's beyond my wildest thoughts, but it's not gonna be like the best in the world. And that's realistic, right? I am almost in my 40s, obviously. So there are some parameters, but don't go too small, but don't go like, I'm gonna be the best in the world in a year. Set more realistic expectations. And the other thing that's super important when we think our goal is too far, is too big, is too out there, you gotta break it down. Like, you're not gonna climb a mountain at once. Like, you have to take one little step at a time and climb slowly, and eventually you'll get it. But you can't have this ginormous goal that just seems so big that you don't even want to start. One thing at a time, break it down, and do one little section at a time. For example, let's say you say, okay, I'm gonna run a marathon. Like, if it was me, that seems impossible because I don't run. But if I were to do that, I wouldn't say, I'm just gonna go to the marathon. I'm gonna sign up and I'll be good to go. I'll figure it out. That would never work. I would fail so miserably. So I would have to do some little steps like, okay, where's the next marathon? When is it? How much does it cost? I have to go and sign up, right? Now I have a date. Then I have to think, okay, what kind of equipment do I need? What kind of shoes? How do I keep myself hydrated? And do I need any snacks? Or should I go check out with like a coach to help me come up with a plan for training for this marathon? Obviously, I can't run a marathon in a month, so it should be in like at least 6 months so I have time to prepare. And then I have to create this workout schedule so that from week 1 to week 3, I do this much, and then I go increasing over time, because it's just like anything else. If it's too big, you are going to give up and you're going to fail. So cut it down into small chunks. Sign up, create a plan, find the snacks or the drinks, find the equipment, train, and do all the little things. And then eventually you'll end up ready to go run your marathon. Something else that's really important that sometimes we forget about is to seek support. We need people encouraging us. We need someone to tell us, hey, don't forget you have to go run today. We need someone to ask us, hey, how's your timing? Did you get a better time than last time? And we need someone to tell us, hey, I can go with you to pick out the shoes. I know someone that can help us figure it out. Having a little bit of community with us can make a huge difference. So find some friends, some family members that are there for you. And some people are not going to support you and they're going to tell you, oh, you're crazy and you shouldn't do that. Just sit down with me and let's watch the game and drink beer. It's going to happen. You're going to find people that are going to think you're crazy and they're going to try to keep you where you're at. But you got to find the other people that are ready to go with you, that are excited for you, that want to cheer for you and are going to support you, and they can push you when you're not feeling like it. Because some days we're not going to feel like training, and that's okay. That's why we need our friends or a coach. If you don't have anyone in your family that's willing to go for it with you, that wants your success, then find a coach. That's what coaches do. They can help you. They can help you come up with a plan. They will support you, and they will call you out when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so important, you have to celebrate your progress. Every little bit of progress that you make, you should 100% celebrate. That's how you get the extra energy to keep on going. Every little win, it's amazing. Like, imagine if you're training and you always, oh man, it could have been better, or oh, I wish it was better, I didn't do it enough, I'm so lame. You're not gonna get excited to do it. You have to celebrate. If you make better time today than yesterday, freaking call someone, be excited, like do something to reward yourself and just be happy for yourself. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. And no matter what it is, if you're starting a business, if you're running a marathon, if you're building a house, if you're back to school, whatever you're doing, celebrate every little thing that you do. That is your energy giver. That's how you get momentum. That's how you keep yourself inspired to keep on going. By understanding these few little things that you can do, such as redefining failure, setting realistic expectations, breaking down your goals, seeking support, and celebrating your progress, that's how you keep yourself from failing. And you're still gonna wanna fail sometimes, but just do these 5 things that are going to keep you more on track and are going to keep you away from actually giving up. At this point, it would be irresponsible of me to not talk about the fact that sometimes you do have to quit. And it's not because you're tired or because it's too far or because you just can't figure it out. The only reason, in my opinion, that you should give up is because your heart's not in it anymore. People change, time passes, and sometimes, no matter how hard you try, at one point you're like, you know what, this is not me anymore. I wanted this a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, and now I see so clearly I don't want this anymore. And that's okay, because we change. We're humans. We're supposed to move on and evolve. And if your heart's not in it, then don't just keep going because of all the time you put into it. It's kind of like when people go to college to study a career they thought they may like, but then they do it and they hate it, and they're like, well, I can't give up now. I put 4 years into this. But do you want to do that for the rest of your life just because you used up 4 years, but you hate it? That makes no sense. Like, we have to follow our wisdom and our gut and our heart. And if you really are over it and don't want it anymore, it doesn't fit with your current person, then it's okay to give up. The only thing that I'm saying is don't give up if you love it and you want it, because it's just hard. It's supposed to be hard, and it's not always going to be super hard. There are ups and there are downs, there are highs and there are lows. But if you're really sick of it, then give up. It's okay. You can switch to something else and then give that thing your all if that's what your heart is telling you. And a story that I love that I heard recently is the story of a fly. So imagine there's a fly and she's trying really, really hard to get out of the house, and she's hitting this window over and over and over again, and the flies just keep trying to get out, and she cannot get out, and she keeps trying to get out, but she can't, and she can't figure out why, but she keeps going and going. Eventually the fly is going to die because it's given it its all and it can't get out. And the thing that the fly didn't realize is that if she had shifted a few degrees to the left, there's an open door there. She could have gotten out through the door, but she didn't because she was so focused on this thing that she had to do and push and push and push. And sometimes you have to stop and be like, okay, this is not working. Which way can I go? Because clearly this one's not working. And sometimes you turn a little bit and you're like, oh, the exit is right there. I didn't see it because I was so focused on this one thing, and I didn't hear the alarm of the, hey, you're failing, you gotta redirect, right? So think about that fly. When you're stuck and you can't freaking figure it out, take a step back and look around. Are there any other options? Is there another exit that I am not seeing that is right next to me? It's probably right there. So if we think about how I was talking of sometimes you have to give up because your heart's not in it anymore, and then you think about the story of the fly where she kept pushing to one thing where she should have moved back and reassess, you have to think about at what point do you know whether you should give up and do something completely different, or maybe just stop and take a step back and reassess and think, okay, what can I shift a little bit to make it still to my end goal that is still in my heart and I still want. So here's the thing, passion fuels perseverance. And if there's no passion, that may be a sign that it's not the thing for you anymore, or at least there needs to be a shift so that you can get to where you want to go. The first thing that you can look into is assess your emotions. How are you feeling about the progress? How are you feeling about your goals? Are you still in it? How does your body feel when you think about it? How's your mood? Sometimes you're going to be exhausted, and that's okay. But is it like an endless exhaustion and there's never happiness? If there's never joy and on the road to your goal, that may be a sign that something needs to change. But if you're just tired sometimes, that's okay. The next thing you can do is see how your progress is going. Have you had any progress or no progress? A lot of progress? Where are you at? If you've been doing the same thing over and over and it's been 6 months and nothing has changed, maybe time to shift your plan. The third thing you can do is to see if you can find someone to help you with another perspective. Find a friend, a coach, a family member, someone, and you can tell them how it's going and see what they see, because sometimes we can't see what's in front of us, and someone else over here can tell you, oh no, you're not seeing this, like you should definitely shift this way or that way. And you don't have to do what they tell you, but take someone else's perspective. It may help you change your perspective as well. And finally, listen to your intuition. Your gut knows. It always knows. And sometimes our mind gets in the way, so it kind of gets some interference. So pay attention, maybe not do it once, but like a few times check in with your gut and ask, is this the right place for me to be at? Is this the right road that I should keep following? What should I do? And just listen to yourself. Like, you are the person that knows the most, and sometimes we get so overwhelmed because our mind is going 1,000 miles per hour. But we gotta kind of calm down and listen to our gut, and then we will know better what the next move can be. Another thing to consider in the pursuit of our goals is our mindset. Our mindset is about how we approach challenges. And there are a few things that we can do to make sure that our mindset is in the right place to get us to the actual goals. So the first one I would say is we have to cultivate resilience. Trying to achieve any goal is not going to be easy. There's going to be ups and downs. So we have to be ready. We have to know that there's going to be setbacks, and we have to be ready to be able to push through them. We have to know when something doesn't work out, it's not when we give up right away. We're like, okay, this is a setback. That's okay. I knew these were coming, so I'm going to figure out how to get through it, right? So resilience is super important. Another very important thing is to embrace our growth mindset and to know that all our abilities and our intelligence are endless. We can learn so many things, and just because we don't know something now doesn't mean that we can't learn it soon. And some things do take time to learn, but we can learn them. And the possibilities are endless. No matter what we try to learn, for the most part, we can learn it. We can get better at everything that we do. We just have to put in the effort and the time, and then we can learn it. So don't say, oh, I don't know how to do that, so I better not try. No, like, know that you can grow. We are built to grow. We're built to learn. So use those skills. Another important thing is how you talk to yourself. If you're always negative to yourself, nothing's gonna work, because you gotta cheer yourself up. And I'm not saying everything's positive, only positive things. Like, sometimes things are gonna be hard, and you have to deal with it, right? But try to be positive on how you talk to yourself. Even if something bad happens, be pissed off for 5 minutes, and then come back and be like, okay, something bad happened. I got mad. I was mad for 5 minutes. Now I'm going to figure out how to do this, because I'm good at solving problems. That's what I do. And I say that to my kids all the time. We are very good at solving problems. And that's just our thing, right? And you can still be mad, but you can encourage yourself. You can say, I know how to do this. I can do this. I am able. And I'm awesome, so I'm going to do it. So talk to yourself with kindness and encouragement, and cheer yourself up. Another thing that's super, super important is to see yourself succeeding. It's called visualization. But in simpler terms, just imagine over and over what it's going to be like when you succeed. That way your mind starts getting used to the idea, like, oh, this is what's happening, it's coming. And the more you tell your mind that something is happening, it's going to do the things. It's going to keep looking for the things to make that happen. It's kind of like when you buy a red car, you start seeing all these red cars because now a red car is in your mind. So if you start thinking, oh, I'm gonna accomplish this, you will start seeing other people accomplishing that, and you're gonna start getting surrounded by that. And before you know it, it's gonna be your reality. But you have to see it, and you have to think it, and you have to feel it. Finally, stay connected to your why. When you're feeling down, when you're tired, when you feel like giving up, you have to think, what is my why? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? And the more you dig into it, the more it will give you the power that you need to keep pushing, because your why is the most important thing. So make sure you have a really good why. Your why can't be because I want to make money. It has to be connected to something deep so that it actually gets you through the tough times. And remember, this whole process is not just so much about not giving up, but it's about shifting your mindset, about failure, shifting your perspective on failure. Stop seeing failure as something bad and start seeing it as a good thing, a lesson, something to learn from. As we get to the end of this video, I want to remind you that the path to reaching your goals, it's going to have a lot of great parts and a lot of tough parts. And it's our resilience, our commitment, our mindset, those things that are going to get transformed from the impossible into all the opportunities that you're looking for. It's how you get from A to B. It's how you make your dreams come true. You keep on going, you keep on pushing as long as your heart's still on it, because you can do it. You have all the tools to learn, to grow, and to move forward. I would love to hear your stories, your experiences, your setbacks, your victories, how you plan things, how you get big goals into smaller little chunks and you accomplish them and you made it to the end, or you're so close to the end, or you feel like giving up and you need a little support. Put it in the comments and let's have a community that supports each other. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any other ideas on how to learn to not give up. And I would also like to invite you to create a goal for yourself. You have a few tools now that I've given you in this video to make it possible. So it doesn't have to be a huge goal, but come up with one thing that you've been thinking about doing, that you've been wanting to do, but you felt like you didn't know where to start. This is how you start. You find a goal, you think about it, you plan it, you listen to your gut, you listen to your heart, you break it down into small steps, and you get started. And you learn what you need to learn, because you are made to learn things. And you find someone to support you, you find your community, or you hire a coach, or you do whatever it takes to get some support to reach your goal. And then you keep on going, and you remember, failures are not a bad thing. Failures are alerts to tell us, reassess, and see where it goes next time when you take a little different path to finally end in the end goal anyways. So find a goal, and please let me know what that goal is. And I hope that it goes great for you. If you have any more questions, please put them in the comments as well. If we need a follow-up video, I would love to make it. So please let me know. Thank you so much for watching this. It was really fun to make and to share my stories with you. And I will see you next time.